I've learned a lesson which so many people don't learn until they're 40, 50, 60. I know when's enough. I have friends that have far more money than me, but they're not happier. They're still lost with purpose.
Worst bit of advice on the online business world?
This whole £10,000 a month. I think the worst advice is just this whole demand to have £10,000 and to live a life of keeping up with the Joneses. My overall advice about life is knowing just what you want. Like, sit down and figure it out, and numbers, what actually makes you happy. Leverage and volume. When people ask me, how have you grown? You know, I've done over 2,600 videos on YouTube. That's more than most people.
Over 6 years?
Yeah.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
but and then collectively, across all my pages, all my Instagram, Facebook, I've done over 16,000 posts. It's this that people don't realise.
Yeah.
Like, it's a numbers game.
What would you tell your 20-year-old version of you? Well, today's guest is the founder of Holder, a logistics starting, fixing and missed delivery problem, plus an AI business, an events company and an educational business, and he teaches people how to go from their 9 to 5 to their 5 to 9. Aaron, welcome to Working On It.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I mean, we've already had a bit of an eventful morning already, so yeah.
We have. We have.
Got there in the end. So let's go back to the beginning. So you built everything on the back of leaving a job. So I think it was about the time that you had a son.
So that was my wake up. So yeah, became a father at 20. 21 was like a real wake up moment because it's a blessing now, but I had a big investigation meeting, like grievance. I was thrown under a bus. This co-worker just gave me great problems. So in a very short period of time from becoming a father, I was the only income. I don't come from a family that's ever had money. I had a very, I would say my upbringing, was tougher than most in terms of, my parents, didn't have anything at the time. And so I knew I had to really support what I had very early on, which was bills and a baby and a family. And then I experienced just this, I look back now, it's just a nightmare of a workplace. So, but it was a blessing because it spurred me on at 21, where I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I am not going to work a job.
I mean, at 21, that's quite a jump, isn't it, at 21? I mean, but also to have that sort of confidence, because normally you don't get that at that age. Most people don't get that at that
I've
age.
always played high-level sports. I boxed as well. At amateur, I was a licensed boxer. So I'm very, very disciplined, and that's instilled in me. And my parents are very disciplined. I'm very, very driven naturally. Just my traits as an individual, very confident, very outspoken. So, even if it hadn't have happened at 21, it was inevitable. But it did happen at 21, and it was like, right, I've got to do what I've got to do. And back then, it was networking events. It was learning. The process was slower for me, but I got there in the end. And 27, I've never had to go back to a job.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, pretty good. So obviously, that's pretty a brave move to do, because obviously you had sort of like a family, as you say, dependents and such. How did you kind of balance that? Did you stay with the job and then work on your sort of like 5 to 9? Is that how you've done it?
Yeah.
Okay, so take us through that part.
Yeah, so at the time, and just thinking of your audience, like value, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think my best bit of advice whilst telling my story is actually doing what I did. I didn't know about business. I didn't know about, what entrepreneurship entailed. I didn't have it all figured out. But one thing I was committed to doing is I started networking. And the first few times, really, it's a great story. A friend of mine who was in property at the time said, do you want to come to Mayfair with me? Because I kept saying to him in the gym, I don't want to be in a job, and I want to provide my family. I want more than what I had. I think that inner boy, and I had a boy. I was like, I want to give him everything. He said, come up to Mayfair. I'm raising some money. It just blew my mind. I actually said to him, what's Mayfair? And then years later, I ended up having an office in Berkeley Square House.
Oh, nice.
Driving past it today, I took a quick video and stuff. So I never even knew there was a place called Mayfair. And when I heard people raising money, which was the first business that I built, I just fell into it because I was good at raising money, good at building relationships. I did very well in my 20s. And I worked my job. I didn't tell anyone. I just knew all this, by the way. I was just because
instinctively.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there's a guy who I used to work with. who just literally threw me under the bus for no reason. And I think experiencing that taught me I'm not going to say a word. And as the saying goes, what they don't know, they can't destroy. And, you know, it wasn't until like the last 7-8 weeks of the day where I, you know, resigned, I just shut my laptop and I left. They started to cotton on that, oh, I'd already been building something, and, you know, so they were making my life hard anyway. And then I left. I'd already replaced my income at that point. I had good savings. I'd made some good investments because I was making large capital. So yeah, that, you know, yeah, I've kept my job and just silently worked behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's pretty cool to take that sort of like that jump is a big thing. But so let's imagine two scenarios. So let's say Aaron at 20 and then Aaron today. What does a day look like back when you was doing the, let's call it 9 to 5, you know, what did it look like then to what it looks like now?
people don't want to hear what it looks like now, and this is where a lot of my content does well. I worked every weekend. I drove, I won't swear because always YouTube algorithm, you've got to be careful of that. I drove really bad cars in terms of, they had little dents in them. We struggled to put fuel in the car. I've said this on many podcasts. I was embarrassed for a good 2.5 years. I struggled to put £5 to £6, and we lived on the orange. And I was embarrassed. Jeez. I was embarrassed to go to petrol stations with a battered Ford Fiesta we had a battered Ford Focus. We were always going from a battered car to a battered car. No one could support us. We haven't got any family members. Even at the time, my partner didn't have anyone in the family that could, so we didn't have that support. So going into the petrol station and trying to pick up a chewing gum to bump the price up, it was embarrassing. And I just knew that I had to make a change. So we didn't go on expensive holidays. We didn't have a fancy car. We didn't spend money on materialistic things. These are Primark. This shirt is one of my own. I just walk around in Primark. I still do. I don't have a fancy watch. I've never been bothered about materialistic things. I got up early. I've said it before. I slept on average 3 to 4 hours a night for 5 years. I'm good. I'm healthy. I did it when I was young. My diet's very clean. I made no excuses, and I worked like a dog. And it paid off.
So what does a day look like now?
I don't do a lot. That's the God's honest truth. I do day in the lives probably once every 6 months to give an update of my life. I potter about my house. I go to the gym twice a day. We do what we want. We go for cafe walks every morning. I go home. I've got my son's football. I was saying to you, I never miss my son's football.
Nice.
I just negotiated with eToro. We were doing it for 2 months. I was not budging that I was going to leave as soon as I filmed what I had to, and then they wanted me to stay. I said, no, my son has a football game. I don't compromise anything. We go on holiday when we want. We don't have money worries anymore. I don't do a lot. And that's the way that I wanted it. And I wouldn't even say for anyone listening thinking, oh, well, he must earn a lot of money. I earn good money, but I know when's enough. I don't need more than what I have now. If I end up getting more, it would just go into investments. We're very humble in living. It will just go into, our son's future more. But we just potter about. That's the best word for my life. I potter about.
It's like Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
apparently he potters around at about 11 a.m.
Yeah, I think the thing is, right, I've learned a lesson which so many people don't learn until they're 40, 50, 60. I know when's enough. And I want to experience things. I have friends, we were talking some mutual connections. I have friends that have far more money than me, but they're not happier. They don't know what they want. They're still lost with purpose. And I see it. You can see it. It's always the next goalpost. And it's when is enough? Go climb a mountain, go be with your children. I think that's the problem, is there's this fine line of neglecting the ones who matter to why you're actually doing it. I did this to do what I want every day, not to, I've got more than him or her. Because I've never given a monkey's about any of that.
Yeah. Just a quick one. If you're running a window cleaning or a cleaning business right now, and you've hit a point where you're not sure what the next move is, in my experience, that's usually not a strategy problem. It's a clarity problem. I've been building a commercial window cleaning business for nearly 20 years now, and I've had the good years and I've had the bad. At the time of this recording, we're on course for £4 million this year, and we currently have 41 members of the team. So I know what it takes to build a business that can give you the lifestyle you want and the free time you deserve. If you want some guidance or just want someone to help you see your own business a bit more clearly, head over to bradstaines.com, or if you want, email me directly at brad@bradstaines.com. We can just have a conversation and see if I can help. Now back to the podcast. I mean, speaking to you like earlier on, one thing that came across was sort of like the amount of knowledge and sort of like skills that you have so far at the age that you are is quite good. It's really good, actually. So it means that you've been so disciplined and focused to get what you've got, regardless of what it is, monetary, lifestyle, whatever it is. But one thing, so like I look at it like life as a journey. So and we're not here for very long, and you kind of want to fill that journey with as many experiences as you possibly can, good and bad, because the bad teaches you things that you definitely don't like in your life, so you steer clear of those, which is just as valuable. But ideally, you want to lean towards the more positive side of things. You've kind of fast-tracked that at quite a young age, which is very admirable. And like you say, I think because your level of needs, let's say, isn't Rolls Royces and all this, so you think, well, actually, I'm good at here. Do you know what I mean? Everything else is extra, is a bonus. Lovely. You've got all these new companies you're starting investing in, which is brilliant. But it's like you've met that, and now you're reaping the rewards for the lifestyle that you lead, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All from that sort of like that being thrown under the bus and kind of pushing you over the edge, really, isn't it? You think, right, enough's enough.
Yeah, and I think when people say to me, "Oh, have you got any fears and stuff like that?" I do. It's getting to a point in my life and looking back when history could have told me, and history does tell us. I think I'll tie this into a book, which I think had a big part of my mindset, is that I don't want to get to a point in my life where I look back and I think, I should have just gone on that holiday. I should have spent more time with my parents. I'm never going to see my dad again. I'm never going to see my mum again. For what? Oh, I wanted to keep up with them, or I wanted to look the part. And I think that really, I'm a big believer in learning from history. And one of the books that does impact, if you really take it all in, it will have a big impact. It's I Know What to Do, So Why Don't I Do It, by a guy called Dr. Nick Hall. It's everything from like a 360 of your life, your health. If you had one car, and this isn't like rocket, this isn't original for me, it's just obvious, but this is where I find the psychology.
Sometimes we need reminding, though.
Yeah. If you were given one car for the rest of your life, everyone would look after it. Because that's the only car, I've got to take my kids, I've got to do this and that and yada yada. You only have one body. But people can't seem to stop putting bad food in their mouth. It's like when you have children. Really, to me, the common adult goal is to live as long as you can in contentment without any mental health issues, protect your children up to the age they can protect themselves, and then make just on that journey make as many memories and just solidify that family unity and enjoy it without any regrets. Or I think if you can make it through life without anxiety, a panic attack, mental health issues, I've had none of them. I've never had a panic attack, I've never had anxiety, because I've never compromised who I am. I've never played up in any videos like that. Tying it into like longevity, I love the gym. I don't always want to go, but I love it. So I never deviate from it. I love what I do. Going back to I wasn't chasing the money when I started on socials. Even when I started helping people get out of a job, I didn't do it initially for the money. And the great thing is my timeline shows that, because I've been doing YouTube for now 6 years.
Pretty consistent, yeah.
And only the last 2 years is paid off.
Yeah.
So I did it because I was thoroughly passionate about it, and I trusted the process, and I value health. I value real people who've supported me, and so I just think society as a whole, especially due to social media, you're either a creator and you have your head screwed on. Otherwise, there's this side of it where it's really dangerous. Consumption, you validate against other people, you compare yourself, and it's the whole psychology that I'm really interested in, that we're just in a very weird world at the moment. And some of the stuff I talk about seems obvious to me, but I know it's not to most.
Yeah, so obviously we spoke earlier on about like mentoring and such, and I don't know about if you found this when you was doing it or when you do it. It surprises me how not little they know, because it's not that. It's just a fact of how aware they are of perhaps what's available and what's not available and so on. Because when they say things, you're like, that's been around for years. Why didn't you know about this? And I think it's just having that environment, or feeding it. And like you say, you probably just go and like doom scroll and just really take nothing in, or you can go and have a bit of intent, a bit of purpose, and think, okay, I'm going to go on there, and like you say, have a bit of a structure to it, and be true to yourself and the journey that you want to go on, of course.
Yeah, which is why I'm very picky on actually who I work with on a one-to-one basis, because I don't actually have the energy anymore. Like, I don't need to do it for the money. I don't need to put myself through that, almost drain of dealing with someone who is very close to an NPC. I've been talking about this a lot recently, a non-playable character, because that's what I find. Like, I feel like most people are in a framework at the moment. Like, you go in central London, everyone's in a three-piece suit running around. Yeah. It's like they are a robot. They're not thinking for themselves. So I have limited capacity to who I work with now on that intimate basis, because it's so obvious to me. We have so many free resources. Everything is freely accessible. 98% of everything you need is freely accessible. The knowledge is there. If the question is how, go find out. If you don't come from a family of money, great. Welcome to my story. Go and do what you need to do. If you don't think you have the time, well, I believe that humans are very good at self-justifying their own excuses. Common ones, just, maybe the audience can relate and then think about it, really, is that I always say, well, if you can work 8 to 10 hours for someone else, you can put three hours in minimum every day. Well, I can't, but the average doom scroller scrolls 3 hours every day. So you can.
Is that what it is, really?
An average is 3 hours every day,
wow,
which is 1,093 hours a year, which is 43 days over the year. So you lose over a month just by scrolling for 3 hours.
Wow. And
but
not
it's all
really
self-justified, isn't it? People still say, I'd love to do that, I just don't have time. You do. You do have time.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very picky on, actually, because I listen to what they say and whether I'll be able to cope with them now.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite a commitment, isn't it, really?
It is.
Going
it's
into
draining.
that sort of thing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, if they're still employed, obviously we touched on it, literally just start, like even 3 hours and so on. Let's say they've been a job and they think, I'm really not happy. But it's almost like that, I can't remember that story, where a dog is sitting on a nail and you go and see it and you speak to the owner and the dog cries every now and then. You're like, what's the matter? He goes, he's sitting on a nail. You're like, why did he get off then? Because it's not bad enough to move.
Yeah.
And so imagine someone's in a job now and they're not happy, etc. Would there be an area for them to start, or is it just simply just start? Or do you have any tips and tricks that you could probably share?
Well, my views on this is that there's around 3.6 billion adults who are working around the world, and Gallup's, their worldwide study is around about 80% of people that do not like their jobs, which is about 2.3 billion.
That's quite a large number, isn't it?
It is a large number, and in the UK we have about 43 million working adults, and there's something around about 38 million that do not like their jobs, right? So it's
just quickly on that. Do they say why they don't? Reasons?
And then it's broken down into exhaustion, burnout, depression, bullying, it's all filtered down.
Wow.
But collectively as a whole, there's an issue, right?
Yeah.
So, you've got to wonder, okay, why don't you do anything about it? Well, entrepreneurship is the 1%, essentially, or 1 to 5% of people. So I always have to define, anytime I engage with someone, because I've learned not to argue with stupid. I've also taken on board, a man will never reach his destination if he stops to argue with every barking dog. So I have to evaluate very quickly and assess, is it worth my time and energy? So when people say, I really don't like my job, I had a guy come up, I have a few people come up to me in the gym who watch my content. A young kiddie came up to me, I really don't like my job or watch your stuff. I said, great, what's your reason why? What's your burning desire? Well, I just really don't like it. Yeah, okay, join the queue. Many other people don't like it. It doesn't mean, what are you going to do about it? Well, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
So there's that difference between this person that you speak of is likely just I don't really like working for anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, join the back of the queue, mate. Most people don't like working for someone else, and being micromanaged.
Yeah.
But how bad do you want the alternative? Like, what life do you want? What North Star? I got interviewed. I'll ask you this, right? I'll put you on the spot. This is going to be really interesting.
Okay.
So I got interviewed by the Venture Room boys, actually in Mayfair around the corner, right, the other day in London. And I always find this one fascinating, this question. What number, down to the penny, signs you off, makes you happy for you and your family? And you'll just close the laptop, we'll leave this studio and you'll go about your day and you'll live your life and you'll do everything you want. What's that number? But it has to be down to the pound and the penny, not just don't round it off. What's the number?
Mine would probably be about, well, not penny, like 1.8 million. because there's a house. My total goal is to have a lovely house in Cornwall, 4-bedroom house in Cornwall, near the beach or on the beach, whatever, and they're about £1 million. And then I need the money to invest and get the return on the investments, and then I can live off of that.
Yeah.
And the reason 4-bedroom isn't because I just want a 4-bedroom house. It's because I've got 2 boys.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking I would like you. I love building memories and so on. I've been fortunate to go on loads of holidays over the years. And I've been to all the special events with all my boys growing up, and they're 20 and 15 now. And I envisage them at some point getting a family, and I would love to be. The reason Cornwall is because we go surfing and bodyboarding, and also when they come down, they can bring their family, and they've got enough room for their family, so they can come down whenever they like.
That's a better answer than I've had with most.
Okay.
Because typically the answer is a number plucked out of thin air.
Oh, okay.
It's just a random number, or they go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating, because think about it. If you don't know your North Star and you don't work back from that, how do you know what vehicle you're going to use? So a common question is, people typically in a job, I've got to get out, I've got to build a business. And you say, right, what are you going to build? Well, I don't know, I've seen an advert for e-com. Do you know anything about e-com? No? Do you love it? No, not really.
Do you know? They see the money.
Well, yeah, but then, and you ask them questions, do you know how logistically involved that is, and the overheads and the startup capital and the risk element? And they go, oh, no, I never thought about that. No, because you've been influenced by an advert, but you don't know your North Star, so you're not sure on the vehicle. If someone said to me, Aaron, why are you building Exit 9? Because I love what I do, which is going to allow me to grow it, because I'm very passionate about it, and all the subsidiaries around it, which is marketing, interaction, networking, complements the growth. So I love that. I immerse myself in that. But the ultimate goal is to sell that in 2 years, so I get to my North Star, and then I'm gone. No one will ever see me again. I'll be gone.
Okay.
That'll be it. Done. Capiche. Because I've won. I've won the game of life. And then it's about enjoying it. And then it's about traveling to all these little pockets of the world. In Italy, little old cafe by grandma, and copper pans, and that'll be it. Most people don't know that, so they're floating around like a fart in the wind because they don't know really what they want, because they've been looking at everyone else. Here's food for thought: we are the first generation that will have more memories of other people's lives than their own.
Oh, from social media.
Yeah. More people knew about my recent holiday to Tenerife a couple of weeks ago than my own family did, who didn't come with me. People I don't know knew more about my holiday.
That's pretty impressive, yeah.
It's mind-boggling, really, when you actually when you break all of it down. It's nuts. That's why when people go, how come you don't follow it? You got over 500,000 on TikTok. You don't follow anyone. I don't care to. I don't care what anyone else is doing. The only reason I'm on social media is to make the big bucks, impact people's lives, and then gone.
So what is your North Star then?
My North Star is a maximum 10.4 million as a sale, or minimum 7.4.
Okay.
It's in that range.
And to do what with it?
That will take care of my entire family. that will be travelling around the world. There's a select few friends of mine that will never work again. My editor, who will cut this up, Mac, you already know it, he'll never work again. There's a couple of other people. Look, I have friends that have made so much money. They could retire me, they could retire you, they could retire more people, but they don't, because it's a very hoard mentality. I will just help as many people as I can, because I know what I need. My son, everyone will be fine. And then I'll just potter about even more. And that'll be it.
Yeah. Nice place as well, Italy. Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
I'll probably move abroad to Mallorca. And that'll be me gone.
Very clear, very clear. Could I ask a huge favour, please? If you've got something out of this episode, could I ask that you share it with someone who needs to hear it? Maybe it's a mate or a business partner, or someone in the trade who's really stuck in it right now, because that's generally how this podcast grows. One person sending it to another. And whilst you're there, if you're not already subscribed, could I ask that you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one? Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode. So Holder, so what's that about?
Well, Holder's very juicy, and it's got a great story, because we already know who we'd love to sell to.
So plan to sell that too?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay.
That has a slightly longer timeline, simply because it's to those who don't understand last mile, it can come across quite complicated, but it's a 3-tier software that embeds into the 3 layers of what makes up last mile. So I had the idea of Holder, which actually was called Project Railway back in 2017. And I just saw a huge problem, because I worked in logistics, and I worked for a very big company. and the same problem was never solved. And no one's cracked last mile because they can't have market. It's very hard to win the hearts and minds of residential hubs. I have a brand. I come from it. I understand it. I've done enough organic views, over 1 billion. I know how to win the hearts and minds. And so my business partner for Exit 9 as well, we sat down. I brought him in one day. We had a chat, and I said, look, I have this itch. I have the plan. I've already kind of formulated it. I've already had some low-level discussions with angel investors who are friends of mine, and but I do need a business partner. We started that July of 2025 when it became Holder Limited, and then we obviously kind of formed everything. We brought on board the right people, and then we went out bringing on residential hubs, and we have something like, I don't know, it's about 500 odd hubs where we were piloting in a location called Brighton. And then what we do is we sit within the retailer, the courier, and then the end user benefits by becoming a hub where they get paid to take per parcels. We're in the pilot testing phase of data at the moment. Once we have the data, we launch essentially into London, which will be early next year.
So would that be an opportunity for people at home to earn money? Is that right?
That's right. So yeah, and we did it in a weird way. We had to recoup and regather and just reflect. So we reversed it. We were going to get the retailers on board to distribute the model, but actually we thought because big companies, they can only distribute to their network. They can't have what we have is a multi-network, like a cross-platform network, where we can have commercial hubs, we can have kebab shops, we can have vape shops, we have residential hubs, and then we have we'll go on about it too much because it never ends, but we wanted to win the hearts and minds of the residents through smart marketing, through getting out there, getting in the papers. We got a lot of PR, press coverage, which was great. We also tied it into my November Peak Performance VIP launch. So we ended up getting loads of hubs. So essentially we are the Airbnb. We don't own the hubs, but we have the hubs. And then we've got everyone signed up.
Yeah.
So now we can go to the big players. We have 500 people in a condensed area that will take on all that. So last mile gets knocked out. So FDDS goes up, and all these metrics that cost billions worldwide. It's about 17.8 billion that it costs the last mile market.
What's the last mile then? What's that part?
So last mile, essentially, in a summary, there's a lot of moving parts to it. It is from manufacturer to a successful delivery first time.
Right.
And then it's everything logistically involved, from the distribution to the lorries to the warehousing to the staff to the repacking.
I see. So as in journey travel. Okay, last mile.
To the CO2 emissions,
Gosh,
everything. And when a last mile, when first day delivery success is not successful, the cost effect per parcel is huge. It's anywhere between £5 to £6. And there's a huge problem in parcel failure. It's a boring business, essentially, to most people.
There's money in the boring businesses.
There is only one other company that won't even compete with us because they don't have distribution. It's kind of old guys starting it in the Netherlands. They won't touch us.
Yeah.
We already look the part.
Yeah. So you're teaching people how to get away from their 9 to 5 and you're giving them a license to possibly do something aside from their 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So he's kind of, I'm trying to offer that whole, look, the way that I look at things is like the curvature of where we're going. Mm-hmm. Jobs are going to be far and few. That's just the God's honest truth.
With AI and stuff.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
Jobs,
it's a subject that's a bit sensitive, isn't it? You don't really want to approach it too much, but I think it's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, and I sort of just talk about it very direct, and it is going to be a major issue for people. But if you can build something, I did a video on the way up here. Even if you're going to still keep your job, you can't neglect adding new skill sets. It's not about working harder. That's not going to protect your job. It is about going, okay, I'm of a certain age. I've still got a mortgage to pay. I've still got kids to feed. Oh, my God, there's been like however many people made redundant. I thought my years of loyalty and making the money for this company was going to serve me. Turns out it's not. I could be on the chopping block. I need to add skill sets because the company will keep skill sets. So I'm very much, look, if you're staying in a job, work towards something else. And you'll actually find that, I quite like this because now I feel quite dependent. I feel secure in my choices rather than. So I'm
taking
all
full
about
control, isn't it?
diversification. Yeah.
So you've got that then. So you're branding your new company there.
Yeah, this is just taking off. Like,
So yeah,
business.
so what does that company do?
Well, so I knew I needed to move into the AI space.
Right.
So Ben and I, we sat down, we were working all night on Holder, and we both said, look, I've got nearly 1 million followers combined. I already had an education company at the time, which wasn't really scalable, to be honest. Well, it was, but I didn't want to do it. It's too me involved. Like, it was too founder led. I didn't want to do that. So we ran an idea. We came up with this business plan, and I went through. The great thing is I have so much data and so much feedback. I understand the problem. We mapped out this Exit 9, which is an all-in-one operational platform. It serves businesses. It serves the starter. It starts from ground zero. It does everything. We will be the leading company in what we do, where people can build something that thrives and survives and is sustainable. And we did the numbers, and we were like, look, if we can do minimal to what we think we can do because of my audience and because of the demand, and I have a huge email database, like huge, above 30,000. Such a big database. I think we can take off with this, and then worked out roughly who would buy this company, which is really broad because of what we do. And then we launched on the 6th of May when we shouldn't have. We had nothing ready. It wasn't really a company. There was nothing really formed. They basically, we did something like $6,000 in the first 7 minutes of people buying in. They were buying nothing essentially at the time, in all being honest and truthful. But 4 months later, we're annually above 6 figures. We're growing day by day. Ben, my business partner, was around my house all day yesterday. We just worked all, and the app's coming soon. And members, we do probably on average between 4 and 7 members a day. But all organic. We don't pay for anything. And
you've got such a big audience anyway. Why would
yeah.
you? So what does it actually do then? Exit 9.
So it is. It's essentially an all-in-one engine where someone will come in, and all of their data is stripped from them in terms of where they are, what they want, their North Star, their finances, their home life, their family. It will produce scorecards based on exactly what they're doing right now to where they want to go. Then it will give honest reports and feedback on if that's possible. Then it will set up challenges and roadmaps, which are unique. So we have one of the highest level of intelligence due to the data that we extract. With that data, it gives honest feedback whether that is achievable or not. Example, the vehicle. If they've plucked out an idea and they've fed our system through one of the assessments that I want to do this, and this is how, it will give an honest feedback if that is achievable based on your lifestyle, your partner, if they support you, how many kids you have, how old your kids are. So it is the first platform that provides the closest roadmap to actually being successful. And I thought about this idea because I love YouTube. YouTube is one of the only platforms that you actually see your success needle to the point where you monetize, to when it really becomes a business. And I thought, why is there not a business out here that will strip you bare, be really honest, and have my almost like behavior about it? Because our coach that we have, it's very, very blunt. Why do we not
on Exit 9? Right, okay.
Yeah, why do we not have something that gives the honest truth and the reality of how long this will take? Because when people say to me, Aaron, I really want to do this in the next 12 months, and I go, no, 3 to 5 years. Come back when you accept that. They go, But this platform will provide that timeline, and it will show it in detail. And then it has trackers, it has the journal, we have one of the most insane communities. Like, that's something I'm really like diving into. We have resources, we have the events, so everything gets put in their calendar, they hook up their Google. We have our own data room. So again, people don't know to build a data room. Andrew Holbert, who's one of my good friends who sold Pareto for 100 million, he was like,
I've got him coming on to
Yeah. He was like, iron out this data room. So I was like, why do we use Google Drive? We'll just create Exit 9's Drive. So now we
now data store, on your own one.
Yeah, so now we have like all this. I was saying to you about data. So we have all of this, what the brands, the finances, the receipts. So like it's you don't need to leave. If you come on, you will only leave if you sell your business. It's everything. So
what's the target audience for that business then? And what sort of thing would it be, like physically, mentally? Goals, achievements?
So the crux of it is time and financial independence based on a life that you actually want. So most people will come in and think, I want to make money and I want to run my own business. But actually what they'll find out is, like, we have a whole section in what's called phase 2 within our exit, which is a 9-phase feature. It's our staple feature. It takes about 12 months to complete. And on phase 2, you go through a complete financial audit. It would take around about 6 hours. And once
so pretty in depth then.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge.
Wow.
So you can't move on. You can't cheat the system. So it'll all be locked until you've done it and you sign it off, and then you lock the commitment, and then you get the report and you complete the report. You feed it back to the journal. You feed it to the community. Public accountability is a huge thing. And also it will flag up on our system if they haven't done it, and all this kind of stuff. And then they'll get accountability loops. When they go through their financial audit, which is how much do you earn, what's your job, that's why I asked you what lifestyle do you want to have, because we have a whole thing of, they put in their lifestyle. So the house, how much does that cost? Like, they add it in, and then it tallies it up against their current salary to how long they expect to live. So they have to provide an honest audit of their health and how long they actually think they'll live for, based on their bills, their mortgage, inflation, how many kids they have, where they want to live. And then that will be in a detailed report where they'll go, oh my God, I didn't realise I actually need 4.3 million in retirement. And that's the truth.
Yeah,
and then they go,
it is.
why have I been farting about in a job that's paying me 33 grand?
Yeah.
Because if I want half a chance of having a half decent life and not being crippled by the government and everything else that's going to change, and a one nation bank or whatever it is, I need to have a minimum of 4.3 million when I retire, and I need to live for 33 years from now. They don't know it.
That's crazy.
So we basically push the hard information in front of them, and now we're starting the Exit 9 show, and street interviews, and we're so lean. Like, AI and software is just peanuts.
Yeah.
So like we're P&E, we're profit and expense, but the margin's like 86-87% profit.
That's crazy, isn't it? And I think that sort of system. Do you do any vetting before someone comes on?
That
the reason I ask is because I think probably when you said about 6 hours in just one module, that's got to be a certain person that really wants to make a difference.
Yes.
True accountability. And ownership of where they want to go in life.
Yeah, so to some degree, yes. So they have like a welcome questionnaire which will strip an initial amount of information from them, which will allow them access at certain times. So one thing we found is again, going back to the psychology, most people quit within 10 days. It's a 10-day period. So our first 10 days is very slow. It's not overwhelming, because when you look at the platform and you open up the toolbar, it can be like if someone's using Notion for the first time, you'd be like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, or Score app, it's like so we have depending on their answers and what they select will then depend on the workflow they actually get access to, and then that will vary to the 7-day challenge, and there's a 30-day and a 60-day and a 90-day challenge. Based on those initial questions and then what they do from there onwards, will filter them to only see certain things to avoid the overwhelm feeling. Right. So there's a lot of technology behind it, and again, sort of the psychology behind it based on what they do and their patterns, again, which adds to value, behavioural patterns.
More data.
I don't want to joke about it too much. Honestly, my business partner, if you said to him, what's one word Aaron always uses, both of them, they'll go data. Yeah. That's literally it.
That's Google, isn't it? That's why even them, they say, like, why are you biggest company in the world? Just because we have the data of everybody.
I understand how private equity work now. Like, I was saying to you, I just can't remember the company, I'd say on here, but then he was saying, think about what private equity owns. They own parts of banks, they own third-party companies. They just want the data. They resell the data. They resell their insurances, their bank loans, their mortgages. They're not bothered about essentially what the company's doing per annum. It's more about, how does someone behave? Do you have that? What pattern? When do they spend? What do they do? That's what they want, and that's what builds up a company value now.
Yeah. I think the underlying thing that I think perhaps people shouldn't forget is the fact that you've invested years in building up the brand and trust with your audience to then produce these companies, to produce them, and allow people to come on and join you on the journey, and they feel that they can honestly hand over that sort of data. So
Yeah.
it's not as if you can switch it on overnight and think, okay, I'm going to become a data company.
No.
Because you need trust, you need relationships, you need that years of investment. And like you said, like 6 years of YouTube, only the last 2 you've monetized it. So you've done 4 years free. And that's because you've had a passion to drive and give information to help people. And I think that's kind of what's got you to this stage now. So I think people need to understand the years of investment you've done to get to this stage now.
Absolutely. Like, I just put out a post about locking in. You know, I said at the end of 2025 I wasn't going to be accessible to everyone. I was telling you on the way, you know, today here, I don't do any podcasts. I rarely leave my house. Again, it's a running joke, but it's the years and years.
We're privileged, by the way, to have him.
Yeah. As my mum would do.
Yeah.
Is that... Yeah, it's the years of no expectation and knowing that there's no guarantees. But just going back to the vetting, because I think that's important, because it ties in with like live streaming, what we're doing now, right? Is that I've never changed my message. You go back 5 years, I'm saying the same thing. It's like true congruency to like, so you can't debunk me. You can't find that, oh, well, he said something else. Because I beat the same drum. And I've also learned that it doesn't matter, you know, platforms like TikTok, YouTube, you can repeat the message. It's just a different angle, but you can repeat, because people, the key to success, in my opinion, is the repetition. So the vetting before people come on. People don't tend to come on to Exit 9, for example. They will only come on because they know my message is 3 to 5 years minimum. So I don't tend to get the random strays of who want it overnight. It's very rare. Yes, they filter through, but my vetting is actually the sheer amount of content that I produce across all platforms. So by the time someone enters, they are well aware of me and my views.
So you've already kind of qualified out people just by your content.
Absolutely, just by volume, which again, for anyone listening, leverage and volume. When people ask me, how have you grown? You know, YouTube, I passed 100K, you know, a couple of months ago. But I had to learn the hard way, but it was volume. Like I've done over 2,600 videos on YouTube. That's more than most people.
Over 6 years?
Yeah.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
but and then collectively, across all my pages, all my Instagram, Facebook, I've done over 16,000 posts.
Wow.
So it's this that people don't realise.
Yeah.
Like, it's a numbers game. But it's getting better, and having people that challenge you, that's the other thing. Too many people will go, well, I post. Yeah, but you're boring. You know, that's the truth. You're boring. Your message didn't grab me. Yeah. You were what I call meh, and I swiped. Yeah. We are in an economy of attention.
Just a quick one. If you're running a window cleaning or a cleaning business right now, and you've hit a point where you're not sure what the next move is, in my experience, that's usually not a strategy problem. It's a clarity problem. I've been building a commercial window cleaning business for nearly 20 years now, and I've had the good years and I've had the bad. At the time of this recording, we're on course for £4 million this year, and we currently have 41 members of the team. So I know what it takes to build a business that can give you the lifestyle you want and the free time you deserve. If you want some guidance or just want someone to help you see your own business a bit more clearly, head over to bradstaines.com, or if you want, email me directly at brad@bradstaines.com. We can just have a conversation and see if I can help. Now back to the podcast. So, on that, a couple of tricks on how to build that then. Because I've noticed, I've done some research onto you, obviously, and so I've watched a lot of your videos, and you're right, it is very consistent. I'll go right back, you know, sort of like, but you have a style of doing your videos. Is that with purpose? Is it because you've researched something? So, okay, if I do this, bright colours, almost warning hazard messages. Is that with a strategy? Is there a strategy behind that? Yeah,
well, just by naturally finding out that it works.
Okay.
Yeah, and finding my own theme. I think everyone. I had a video sent to me where a guy was copying me on YouTube, and I just reached out to him and I said, look, no one owns content essentially, but you're doing me like for like. I just want to give you the heads up. If you start growing, people will go, that's Aaron, and then you'll lose all the trust. Because you're repeating everything I'm saying and you're doing the same thumbnails as me. You will lose trust if you get big enough, because they'll go, that's Aaron Knightley. So I found that rhythm. I think that's what it is. It's a rhythm. Like some of my biggest TikTok videos where I do millions, you know, I'll be able to show you after this, but I sat in the car and I was like, oh, what should I talk about today? I just wanted to get a quick video out because I do them all in the car. TikTok's very forgiving. YouTube, aesthetically, it needs to be a little bit cleaner, good audio visuals. But TikTok, very, very forgiving. So it's like other platforms like Kick and stuff like this. And I sit in the car before I go in the gym. Lighting's just the light or whatever's in the car in the winter. And I just pull up my phone to my face and I say, in the workplace. I always start off in the workplace. And I looked at this video because I weren't sure what to create today. I normally have a list, but I was tired. I looked at my latest, well, one of my biggest videos, which I did like 8 months ago, and it was Let It Fail in the workplace. And I thought, that did 3.4 million. I'll do that one again. In the workplace, you must let it fail. And I just did it from a different angle. 3.7 million. I earned something like 1,200 quid from that one video in the next 24 hours because TikTok pays me a high RPM. Yeah. So 1,200 quid sitting in my car before I go into the gym. 3.6 million. Had the BBC again knocking at the door, going, do you mind coming on the radio and talking about this? Because they always pick me up. I have been picked up many times now by the BBC and been on BBC Scotland several times, BBC Sussex, all because of TikTok. Which is
all
nuts.
basically just sort of like leaving your 9 to 5.
Yeah, like the BBC invited me back on not too long ago because one of my videos was about don't worry about calling in sick. Stop worrying about it. Stop freaking out. Oh, they're going to be talking about me. Oh, they're going to sack me. Stop worrying about it. You're going to be working for the next 40 years of your life. Don't worry about one day. Go chill. Relax. And the BBC, you know, with Kay Adams, you know, she loves, she always brings on a toffee, a London toffee, a Chelsea toffee to come and have a go at me. And I just give back. Yeah. But I'm the people's people. Yeah. So I'm winning. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm for the people. Yeah. So, yeah, and then, you know, ITV have picked me up last year and stuff like this. So, yeah, it really does get you PR. Yeah.
So, say someone's got 200 followers, what should they do in the next 90 days?
No, I'm joking.
Come on, you're the people's people. Come on.
I'm joking.
Give up.
It's over.
Just close your account.
Keep working.
Go back to your 9 to 5.
Take the forklift course. Oh, no.
So, anyway.
There's hope. We're going to get back to it.
Right. So, next 90 days, what should they do? Any tips? Obviously, we've spoken about, you know, basically high videos, high, you know, so just content, keep going, high number. Is there anything else that they could do? Hooks, video strategy, anything like that you feel you've learned that may give them a bit of an edge? Yeah. I understand there's still a characteristics side of it, like discipline, consistency wins in everything anyway. Yeah. That as well, but any other strategies they can adopt?
Absolutely. Hyper niche. So have complete clarity on what you're going to create. So the worst thing anyone can do is start to talk about something, pivot a month later, doesn't work, or they think it doesn't work, pivot again. Then they become the person of like, well, what do you even do? What do you talk about? It looks very flaky. So you have to kind of sit down and go, right, what could I talk about every single day? And I'm really passionate about it. Forget about the money, what do I love to talk about? And how could I construct this and package it in a way where, to me right now, it doesn't seem like a moneymaker, but how can I educate someone about the thing that I'm just really passionate about? Pokemon cards. You know, Gary Vee is a great advocate of, you know, you can make money doing anything, and you can. So it's about knowing the thing that you're going to talk about for the next 12 months minimum. So having that core pillar, then volume in what you do, but alongside volume, it is about that attention. It's that grabbing that attention and just knowing, would I watch this? And you have to think about the consumer. They've probably been there for 20 minutes, maybe an hour. So they're getting a bit bored. That thumb is ready to keep swiping. So you actually have to think about who is going to stop and why will they stop? Going back to the red, the warning, the yellow, bold, the title above, the pop-up of the phone, the oomph in my voice. It's about going, who's this? Am I going to agree or am I going to disagree? And are they going to trigger something? Are they going to say something that's a bit of a reflection in my life, or I'm going to leave a comment? So it's about, you've got to have that, don't worry about what people are going to think. I think that's the biggest thing. Volume. And in terms of the next 90 days, if someone is working a job, I think you need to understand why you're doing this. I went on this journey of entrepreneurship, not because I was bored, not because my family have been in it, because I needed it. I needed a way out. I needed to give my son a better life. I know there is more to life. I had to. There wasn't, I didn't have an option. I could not remain in the job. I am not built for it. Humans can do incredible things. I am one of them. So I cannot settle. So you have to have the reason why you're going to do it, and know that thick skin will be developed over time. Yes, it's cringy. Yes, you worry about it. In the beginning, you think, should I talk about that? Should I say that on a lot? It doesn't matter. Because I promise you now, no one gives a monkeys. That's one of my biggest things. I always do this test. I'm going to do it with you now. It comes across quite morbid, but it just paints the picture. And just be very honest when I ask you, if I pass away tomorrow, are you going to lose sleep for the next few nights?
No.
No. So when you think of that, and then you kind of multiply that, and you think, well, if something bad happened to me, or I was diagnosed with something, no one cares. No one cares. So I'm just gonna speak it, and I'm gonna share it. And if I trigger someone who's sitting in a basement with cheesy What's-It fingers, and overweight and sweating or whatever, who cares? Because if it all ends tomorrow, no one would have given a monkeys anyway. So I might as well just do it. That's the way I live my life.
Because I suppose you're the one that's going to benefit from when it obviously comes good in the end.
Yes.
That consistency, like you did them 4 years without getting anything on YouTube.
Yeah, now. After all those times, I just want to share this. I did this in my video today. I mentioned it. It'll be a full video on my next video. When I first started doing the car videos, which are very punchy, I started having a lot of guys and women who are probably in between late 30s and late 40s, in that age range. Don't listen to this guy, neck on his tattoo. He's a scammer. He's this. He just wants to sell you stuff. Online world is rubbish. Content creation is not a real job. All this kind of stuff. Do you know, I said this. I said, at some point, these people will go silent because they realise content isn't optional. It becomes mandatory. And they're going to get pulled in an office at some point. And they are the ones pointing the fingers at me now. They're the ones going to be wanting to know exactly how to do this because they've still got a mortgage to pay and their wife is wondering how they're going to pay their bills. Do you know, I never get those comments anymore. Totally silence. Nothing but support and love on my YouTube channel because those same people are going, I'm actually going to have to pick up a camera. Yeah. It's not about CVs. It's about content. Yeah. It's mandatory. You cannot build a business. You can't without content. So they've all gone silent because I call it the shift. The shift is happening right now. We're in it. And I got on the plane and I took off quicker.
Well, that was like Daniel Priestley. Did you hear that thing when he said about taking off before the fog comes in?
Like an airport.
Yeah, before the fog comes in. Yeah,
you have to.
And it's coming in very, very soon.
You have to think there is a swarm coming in, and there is going to be masses. Whether it's an airport or like people are going to be coming in, and it's going to be argy-bargy, and it's going to get quite nasty, and it's going to go. Who can compete at the highest level? But if you can just get above the parapet and you can build that trust now, like I say, there's 2 years left.
I was going to say, why do you say that? I think I know why. I listen to Daniel Priest and so on. But what's your thoughts on why that is so important?
Well, I think it's going to be quicker. I just, I didn't know a huge amount about AI in terms of what I'm seeing now on the back end, working very closely with my business partner and our CTO. I didn't realise how quick this thing is moving. I didn't realise how much we can do by talking to an AI agent, Codex, whatever. The whole Anthropic world of ChatGPT, everything like this. This is, I just can't see how in 2 years that we're going to need certain people. I just can't see it. I had 2 accountants. I only have 1 now. I just can't see when we're going to have hundreds of thousands, if not in the low millions in the next 2 years, hitting a market when AI is becoming self-serving. So you and I will figure out problems and then we try to find solution. But we're going to get to a point, I think, quicker than what is predicted. This is just my opinion because I'm seeing it, because I'm so involved in it. And I think others would agree. It's solving problems before you know that there is a problem. So it's going to reduce the amount that you can actually solve because it's already solved it. And when people start transferring their skills, especially like tech, full stack tech developers and app developers and all this lot, when they start hitting the market and they leave Google and, all these places, how are you going to find these gaps anymore? So my belief, you have to build and sell in the next 2 years. Otherwise, I think I won't talk about it too much, but I do believe there is a bigger agenda. I absolutely believe that. I can see it. Pay to play on social media, accounts getting wiped off. The UK government overtaking YouTube and having an agreement to push the BBC and the ITV and the Sky News. X having to pay to verify on X. Everything's becoming pay to play. Everything's digital ID. I feel that if you can't make your money and you can't get on a plane and get away with your family and secure your assets and put your money into places, stocks and shares ISA are all being taxed. Everyone is being crippled. They do not want you to succeed in the UK, especially.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think 2 years, you have to build something. There is an opportunity to build something with low margins, high profit, and sell on a high multiplier. You know that. I know that. I think you're going to be lucky if you go beyond 2 years. That's what I just think.
Is that why you think like the personal branding side of things, the content creation is just so valuable and urgent, I suppose?
That's why I obsess about it.
Because okay.
I agree. I don't want to be on social media. That's the God's honest truth. But I obsessively use it to my advantage because it's like going through a fog, isn't it? Like I'll go through the storm. I don't want to, but I have to get out on the other side. Like I have to use it. I have to use it to my advantage. I don't want to be on all these platforms because it is a drain. Yes, I have autonomy and I have a team, but it wasn't always like that. But still, I just want peace. I just want to potter about. I just want to sit in my garden and do nothing. But I have to use this to get the data to then be able to exit.
Yeah,
I would not want to build something where I just cash flow a month. I have no interest in just making money every month. Get in, make X amount of million, know the numbers, know that how long that will last you and what you'll be able to pass down after inheritance, what the tax situation is wherever you live, how much is that going to leave your family, what is the world going to look like when you leave, so how will your kids navigate it? I think about all this.
That's what I mean. I think they're valuable questions because it is really like fast forward 5 years. I mean, what's that going to look like? I mean, like you say already, like the Anthropic sort of thing. I am a big AI user as well. I've been told probably too much, but I everything I do, I'm like, right, I want to build this system, and I've connected it all to all of my systems. I'm like, right, okay, do this, do that, and I was like, what have I not seen? Where's the weak parts in this? And let me know. Like, don't rush it. Go out, come back to me in 10 minutes' time.
Yeah.
Search everything you can.
I think...
And it's that, and the stuff they come back, you're like, gee, I didn't think about that. Okay, right, now fix it.
Just like you with social media, you didn't realise until you went in it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
ignorance
definitely,
is bliss, and that's great at times. Like, ignorance is bliss when it comes to the news. I have nothing to do with mainstream media. I don't know what wars are going on. I know nothing.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
But you can't bury your head in the sand about when it comes to who's paying you and where you're going to make your money. If you keep your head in the sand, like I can't remember the guy, but where he was talking about, there's a big tidal wave coming. I absolutely believe there's a big tidal wave coming. And I think there's too many people that are going, don't let it get me.
Yeah.
And they're going to suffer, but their families are going to suffer because what are people going to do? Are they going to live on this universal allowance where you're controlled,
universal base
your spending
income,
habits? No, you've had enough. You have your, Audi or I actually go to Audi, so Audi's fine. But like I'm trying to paint the picture of like Iceland's own beans. Like the. Nothing against if anyone gets that, but I'm saying like the worst of the low, like 40p for a kilo of beans is not going to be great. Like, do you want to live on that?
Yeah.
Or do you put your body through? Like, I'm a big believer. I will leave this. I will give my heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears that my son never carries the burden of life. I will not. I love my parents to bits, but it was passed down to me. You got hope in hell's chance that I'm passing it on to my son. I'm sure you're the same.
Yeah, definitely. It is a concern of sort of what they're coming into. It is a concern.
It is.
But then it's almost like, well, okay, I'm going to take the ownership of making sure that it's not really too much of a burden, as you say.
Yeah.
Because I can see in my limited knowledge of it all, let alone everyone else that sort of like really knows stuff. But just what I'm seeing as I'm playing around with it, you think this is just, like you say, it's going to be taking a lot of jobs. I kind of need to act now.
Yeah, so everything, business, social media, is purely to secure the future, and there is an opportunity.
It's a good strategy. Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of opportunity. It's not all. Oh my God, I've got to get. Yes, I believe there's a time restraint here. I do believe there's like like the rubber band is being pulled and it's it's close to snapping. But that is, you can do a lot in a couple of years. Like if you get a move on. And you pull your head out the sand, you think, right, act together. We're not going out the weekends. We're not going to put this holiday on a credit card.
Sign up to Exit 9.
Yeah, get yourself into Exit 9. And then when you're in Exit 9, sign up to a holder user and you get paid for that.
Give more data to Aaron.
And then when you need a one-to-one, you sign up.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. So we've got a couple of quick fire rounds. So what would you say is the best money you've ever spent on business?
My mentor, Jason Greystone, for sure. I can't knock anything that I've ever spent with him, because I'm a big believer that look up to someone and follow a blueprint, footsteps of someone who has a life that you really want, and someone who isn't a million miles away. Like, I don't watch podcasts of Diary of a CEO. I don't watch billionaires. I don't listen to Grant Cardone. I don't do that because I have no desire to achieve that level.
I suppose the only podcast I listen to is probably working on it, isn't it?
I think that is. Yeah, that is. Yeah, yeah. I'll listen back to this episode. When I'm talking, I'll make myself fall asleep. No. But I won't listen to podcasts where I don't have a desire to obtain that life. And I think that's where a lot of people put this anxiety on themselves, because they're like, oh my God, I need to be making £10,000 a month. So the best money I've spent is absolutely with Jason. Other than that, the best investment I've probably made is in Audible books. Just simple Audible books of just listening to those who have been there before, taking little nuggets on how to, manage my money better, be smarter, be wiser. Food for thought, just to engage my brain, because I think so many people, again, going back to NPCs, this is just zapped in a job, the Groundhog Day. So just Audible books and networking events. I think I owe it to networking events that they opened up so many doors. Hence why, I thought I want to start my own events company. And those three things: Jason, Audible books, and networking.
I think the one thing that's underlining there, and for everyone listening, is like, and that's more sort of like profound than I think you probably, because you said it like in a relaxed way, but it's almost like that's self-development, that's investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think people don't value that, or a lot of people don't understand the value of it. So I've just asked you, what's the best investment you've made in business? With everything that you have going on, all of these followers and all these great stories you've shared with us today, and it's come on the line, it's like self-development, investing in yourself has been the biggest investment. And I think that those that understand that will be successful. It's literally that simple.
Yeah, and finally, my final point to everyone is, if you're not around the right people who do have ambitions, your limitation and your outlook on life is very has a ceiling. It's very stagnant. It's kind of, if you hang around with four people that only make 40,000 a year, you will only make 40,000 a year.
Yeah,
whereas
so
if you
true.
diversify and you bring in these experts and these ambitious and these high achievers, and you can be the lowest of them all. You can earn, the lowest, but you're able to extract all this ambition, this belief. I think that's when you self-educate, you realise there is more to life, and then it gets you questioning, am I willing to leave it on the table?
Yeah, it's like that great thing with Denzel Washington, isn't it? Because you hang around the barber shop long enough, soon you'll get a haircut.
Yeah.
It just literally just comes out to you, doesn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, worst bit of advice on the online business world?
This whole £10,000 a month.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, isn't there?
It's a significant amount of money.
Do you know why it's just 10k?
I think just because it's a nice solid number. It sounds great. It's kind of, that's, I suppose, the number that you could have everything you want, I suppose, to some degree. And it's sort of drilled in. It's been mentioned so much. It's so many thumbnails on YouTube. It's, 10k, how to make 10k in 90 days. It's become very universal. So everyone's comparing themselves to, if I'm gonna build a business, I've got to get to this 10k. And then, people are very bad with money. So I think the worst advice is just taking social media advice about numbers that you don't know. When the average salary, this is what I say to people, you don't like your job, what you earning, 1,500 to 3k, that's all you need. You're the 3,700, great. You've made more than your job and you've got a bit extra. So I think the worst advice is just this whole demand to have £10,000 and to live a life of keeping up with the Joneses. I think, look, my overall advice about life is knowing just what you want. Like, sit down and figure it out. And numbers, what actually makes you happy? You know, Jason uses a great example of look through your camera roll. Like, look at your happiest moments. Where were you most happy in your camera roll? Like, figure it out and then do more of that.
Yeah, that's a good, good trick. Yeah, definitely.
So, and people just need to stop consuming.
Yeah, and just to caveat that as well is like understanding what you want, because you've clearly got a really clear strategy and you know exactly what you want. But I think just as valuable as knowing what you want is knowing what you don't want. So you know that you're not deterred by that. You're drowning out that noise because you think, well, that's actually nothing to do with me because I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So I think it's understanding what you don't want. And incidentally, on the 10K thing as well, like you've already touched on, it's almost like your disciplines of expenditure. Because if you're a bad spender, you could have £100,000. You will still spend that £100,000 a month. So if you want earn more money, and that's the problem, look at what's going out first, see if there's any sort of like room for improvement on that and your disciplines. Then maybe go for the 10K if you need it, but make sure you get the disciplines of expenditures right first.
I would also say to everyone, you know, get in the gym. I think that is just massively overlooked. I think it's underestimated by most, is that just discipline from the gym. You know, I went to the gym at 5 a.m. this morning. Like, I never lose my bite. I think I like being humble in growth. I never miss a gym session. You know, I train most days twice a day because I do my gym session. I go back with my boy, and then I've got his football. You know, like half the time I'm knackered, but I love it. Like I love being knackered because of the things that I love. But you know, but being in the gym, I feel, and having a good diet just sets you above, and it prepares you to do the hard things that are coming.
Okay, so what would you tell your 20-year-old version of you?
Well, do you know what? The 20-year-old version of me, I would say what I say to my son. Don't borrow money from friends or lend money to friends. Be very careful to listen to people that don't want what you want or have what you want. So a young version, you know, of me, but also I see it in my son. I tell him, never let anyone tell you can't do something. Someone's limitation is not yours. Health is the, you know, the thing at the top. You always look after your health. I think I would probably tell myself to double down on networking. I think networking changed my life significantly in terms of the people that I met very early on, and I'm very grateful to the people that I met early on and then who I was introduced to. If I'd have done that, you know, 2 times, 3 times more than what I did, I probably would have been where I am now a lot sooner, therefore had more time on my hands, although I still have time. So I think networking is something I'd said, it's working, but do more. And I would have started creating earlier. I started pretty early, but had I have known what I know now, I would tell my younger self. My son's done over something like 2.5 million views. He's got a very good YouTube channel. He's done a lot of content with me. He works alongside me. He's 13. He earns really good money for a 13-year-old. So I'm kind of just telling what I tell him now.
Yeah, that's really good.
So just, and actually be more of a hermit. You know, go against society. I'm a hermit now. I don't see anyone. I don't like many human beings. I really don't. I'm quite a grump, but I like it. Yeah. So I would actually tell my 20-year-old self, say no a lot more. Although I said no a lot anyway, I'd do it more. And yeah, just hibernate and lock in.
Do you think that comes from confidence that you've built more recently over the more recent years, that sort of like confidence within, like you're more happier with yourself, so therefore, regardless of what anyone says, I'm going to do what's really truly happy with me and what I believe in? Would you say that's sort of like life experience, the years of maturity?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's a big part of that. I think when you see people come and go, people die, and you know how quickly people move on, you realise, you know, and midlife is actually at 35, 36 years old. That's midlife. If you're talking about the average lifespan here in the UK, which is 78, you know, 78 to 80. Yeah, and I think seeing how quick people move on. I use the great example. Liam Payne had over 100 million followers, millions in the bank. From One Direction, died. Gone. No one mentioned him after. Like he's so irrelevant.
That's very true, irrelevant. Actually, I think it was top news for about a day or two. That was it.
The Queen.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all not like Queen. You know, the Queen, Liam. Like, you know, of course it's awful for their family. That's certainly not what I'm saying. But I'm saying The world moves very quick. What's hot one week is not the next week. So you have to have that outlook of everything I'm going to do is for me and my family. Everything I'm going to do is because I want to do it. And I'm not going to compromise myself along the way, because that's where I think one of the biggest winners in life is going through never losing sleep, never having anxiety, never worrying. Even when I've had money worries, do you know, I always remind myself, my son had these lumps on his neck once when we were out hiking, huge lumps. And I just remember, I was dying inside for that brief moment. Like I didn't know what it was. And I remember ringing my partner and going, oh my, you know, like she said, bring him here, I want to see him, and blah, blah, blah. And we took him to the hospital. It was just his lymph nodes.
Yeah.
But they blew up. And I thought, is it a tumour? Oh my God. I'd have emptied everything. Nothing mattered.
Yeah.
And until you have that, nothing mattered. Like, for example, if I got a call from my family saying, you know, I mean, my dad was attacked by dogs and he lost all this blood and, you know, like he nearly died and all this kind of stuff, I'd be gone. Like none of this, you know, oh, Aaron, do you want the foot? I don't care. I don't want the foot. I'm gone. Because now that's perspective. So I've had perspective.
Yeah.
You know, I understand all of this is fugazi. It means nothing really. It only means something if you're here for long, you know, you have the longevity in you. If I'm healthy, if, you know, if you're looking after the vehicle, then you can enjoy the process of doing this.
Yeah.
If you're not and something happens to your family, what's it all for anyway?
Exactly, yeah.
What's the point in building a business and making money if you haven't got someone to live it with? Pointless.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
You know,
It
it's
seems
nuts.
no point living in your alone in a mansion, you know. It's like, family and close friends around you, you know.
And that's just perspective. You know, that's ultimate wisdom. And most people don't learn that until they are of age.
Yeah.
Just finally, I've had hundreds of comments I've saved from people who are in their 60s who have shared on my YouTube. It's a really mature platform in terms of really long comments, who said, I was earning 250 in a bank. I was earning 180 for a big corporate company. I was working in Canary Wharf. I've had it all. And my biggest regret is I neglected my family, that I never spent time with my kids. My kids don't talk to me now. I've even had the kids of people who were kids of high earners and said, we don't talk to our dad. He's broken. You have to learn from that.
Yeah. That's a big lesson.
Does your kids care that you have a business? Do they really care?
I think they like what it brings.
They like what they like.
But then,
they like the life.
But then when we're chilling, sort of like you know, just spending time together, we're going to Cornwall, I go to Cornwall a bit, and so that all that sort of thing. They love that. Yeah. You know.
My son doesn't care that I'm on TikTok. My son doesn't care that I have a business. My son doesn't care I'm on YouTube.
Yeah.
He just wants his dad. He just wants his dad today at football.
I think the fact that you've sort of like cared for your body, like you say, your vehicle, etc., you're able to be there and share those moments at exact same moment that they're sharing it, because they're a lot younger, obviously, a lot more energy, a lot more physically fit. But the fact that we're looking after our bodies in that sense, we can still enjoy that journey, regardless, you know, have no limitations in that sort of thing, you know. So I think it's very powerful. So. Yeah. So
amazing.
How can people find you?
Oh, they can't.
Well, if they haven't heard from you, they're living under a rock. But yeah,
in 2 years you won't. No, just Aaron Knightley. Anywhere. Okay. That's it. So.
Well, Aaron, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been wanting to get you on for ages, so thank you so much for deciding to, you know, approve us and come on. I really appreciate it.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Cheers. Thanks.
Okay.
I am sweating.